Go to the sexual sin, sexual violation area of it. I got a frown from that one.
My binder's in my car, sorry, but I can, it's right
Do you
here.
want to grab it?
It's in here, but I could if I want. I think it's here, I'm pretty confident it's in here.
I have some client sheets printed too. You could grab one of those.
Okay.
There, I think they're in that pile. But you can just do it from memory if you want to also. Here.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
Alright, tell me. So you carrying this with you? Okay.
So you can just don't write on it
I
because
won't
I'm
check
gonna.
it. Yeah.
use
Just
it.
look at
Seriously,
it.
not even a pencil mark.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't you start with the sexual sin,
Okay.
and you literally that area you just read, from it. So I'll throw you a couple curveballs. Get it.
So we're going to begin this area with a basket for any type of sexual sin. So just repeat this after me, and as the Lord brings things to your mind, picture a wicker basket and place everything into a basket.
Okay.
Just nod when you're finished and take your time.
Okay.
So Father, I have this basket,
Father, I have this basket,
and I'm going to place every event,
and I'm going to place every event,
action, or vision
action, or vision
you bring to my mind
you bring to my mind
in the basket
in the basket
so that I can place it under the cross,
so that I can place it under the cross,
totally forgiven.
totally forgiven.
And just when the basket's complete, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. So Father God,
Father God,
is there anything else?
is there anything else?
We can go over how it works.
No.
Okay. Father God,
Father God,
I ask forgiveness
I ask forgiveness
for all the sexual sin.
for all the sexual sin.
It's not who I am.
It's not who I am.
I am your righteous daughter,
I am your righteous daughter,
filled with your spirit.
filled with your spirit.
I renounce and reject all of this sin
I renounce and reject all this sin
and place it under the blood of the cross,
and place it under the blood of the cross.
totally forgiven.
Totally forgiven.
I ask forgiveness
I ask forgiveness
for in any way
for in any way
that I have caused harm
that I've caused harm
or damage to anyone in the basket.
or damage to anyone in the basket.
I ask you, Lord,
I ask you, Lord,
to bless them
to bless them
and bring full restoration
and bring full restoration
to all in the basket.
to all in the basket.
Jesus, I choose to forgive everyone who has violated me
Jesus, I choose to forgive everyone who has violated me
in any way,
in any way,
including sexually,
including sexually,
or persuaded me to sin
or persuaded me to sin
instead of protecting me.
instead of protecting me.
Jesus, forgive me for in any way
Jesus, forgive me for in any way
that I have believed
that I have believed
that your shed blood on the cross
that your shed blood on the cross
did not cleanse me from all my sin,
did not cleanse me from all my sin,
and that I have to pay for it myself.
and that I have to pay for that myself.
That is a lie.
That is a lie.
I place all this under the blood of the cross,
I place all this under the blood of the cross,
totally forgiven
totally forgiven
and totally severed from my life.
and totally severed from my life.
I break all soul ties
I break all soul ties
for any physical or emotional sex
for any physical or emotional sex
or any violent situations.
or any violent situations.
Abba Father,
Abba, Father,
I break every soul tie
I break every soul tie
with each person or image in the basket.
with each person or image in the basket.
I give back to each one
I give back to each one
all that belongs to them entirely,
all that belongs to them entirely,
and I take back for myself
and I take back for myself
all that belongs to me,
all that belongs to me,
covered by the blood of Jesus.
covered by the blood of Jesus.
Abba Father,
I'm going to make a quick side note right there that if we've already gone through this process and it comes out later that there's pornography stuff and you need to go through and whole heart that and everything, then I always break soul ties again with every image, every, I I just try to hit up all the soul ties that are created with those sexual imagery. And so anyway, that's just a side note that kind of is covering it if there isn't maybe an addiction or something like that going on. But if there's something deeper where there, especially if it's still happening or anything like that, then you know the image, the soul tie that gets created with an image through pornography and stuff is really, I mean, that's a big deal. It's a really big deal to break those soul ties. So,
Okay. Abba Father,
Abba Father,
is there anything else I need to ask forgiveness for
is there anything else I need to ask for forgiveness for
in regards to sexual sin?
in regards to sexual sin?
So the thing that paper
I'll
there is what
just
you
say
use,
as a
like,
side
right
note
from the
also, this area, that I've had things come in with like, actually I've had this happen quite a few times that people have, at that point have said, that they need to ask forgiveness for masturbating. So I'm just saying that or whatever because it might be a little shocking the first time, or I felt like at least the first time, like, how do I handle this or whatever. And then the Lord just led me or whatever. It wasn't a huge deal. I just kind of handled it. And asking, a lot of times there's like shame and stuff attached to that. So they might need to choose to forgive themselves if there's like guilt or shame in that. You might also use that same verbiage of feeling like I'm dirty or defiled and that there's something wrong with me because of that or whatever, if the Lord leads you to that. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. So, no, nothing else.
Okay. So this next section is about sexual violations or abuse. And I need to ask you if you've ever had a sexual violation or abuse happen to you, or if you've ever had an abortion or used the morning after pill.
Okay. So, yes, I've had an abortion.
How do you ask that sensitively? Like, is there anything else? Have you ever had a sexual violation?
So I would say at that point I probably would say, how old were you
Okay.
when that happened? And then that's one of those things that you may just want to go through it right away. Don't go back through the violations yet. You know, go through that entire situation wholehearted. Just don't forget to go through the violations, which would be really hard to forget because at the end of all those things, you're going to ask the purity picture. Jesus, show me a picture of how pure I am. If you ask that picture and they don't get a good picture, that's because there's something else there, typically. Sometimes, though, you might get a good purity picture and there's still a sexual violation that's in there. It's not like a cut and dry thing all the time. So you just want to make sure, like, that's where those sticky notes came in for me, is that I was like, oh, I'm going to forget, you know, to go back over this if all of a sudden the session's over and I went all the way through abortion and then I haven't gone through other sexual violations. So, okay, so let's go through the abortion one first
Okay.
and just do that since that's where we're at.
So how old were you when this happened?
I was 15.
And let's just ask Abba Father, who do you need to forgive?
Okay.
So Abba Father,
Abba Father,
who do I need to forgive in regards to this?
who do I need to forgive in regards to this? My mom and dad come up right away.
Okay. Abba Father, what do I need to forgive my mom for?
Abba Father, what do I need to forgive them for? Just, it's like my mom and dad always said that, you know, they were Christians and everything, but then when it came to a situation with us and their reputation being on the line, then all of a sudden they, you know, they kind of pressured me to have an abortion.
The womb thing is confusing to me still too.
Well, this is, to me, these breakout sessions are more productive just to have questions answered. And,
Abba Father, what else do I need to forgive them for?
Abba Father, what else do I need to forgive them for?
teaching and so, the room is basically, I see.
Just feeling like they didn't think I could handle it, and that just all the, they were just embarrassed of me and the mistake that I made, and
That's what I was gonna say, it would be weird, like, just remembering when I went
I just feel like they didn't protect me.
Abba Father, what else do I need to forgive them for?
Abba Father, what else do I need to forgive them for? That's it.
Abba Father, who else do I need to forgive?
Abba Father, who else do I need to forgive in this? Just the people at the abortion clinic. And like one nurse in particular, she just was kind of cold with me and just not very kind.
What else should I forgive them for?
What else should I forgive them for? No, I don't think anything else.
Abba Father, who else do I need to forgive?
Abba Father, who else do I need to forgive? Nice.
So, Abba Father,
Abba Father,
I choose to forgive my mom and dad
I choose to forgive my mom and dad
for saying that they were Christians,
for saying that they were Christians,
but not living up to it
but not living up to it
when their reputation was on the line.
when their reputation was on the line.
And I choose to forgive them
And I choose to forgive them
for putting pressure on me to have an abortion.
for putting pressure on me to have an abortion.
I choose to forgive them
I choose to forgive them
for making me feel
for making me feel
like their reputation
like their reputation
was more important to them
was more important to them
than myself and my baby were.
than myself and my baby were.
I choose to forgive them
I choose to forgive them
for thinking I couldn't handle it,
for thinking I couldn't handle it,
and for being embarrassed,
and for being embarrassed,
and not and for not protecting me.
and for not protecting me.
And I choose to forgive the people at the clinic
I choose to forgive the people at the clinic
for any part they took
happens
in
anyway,
my
so.
abortion.
for any part they took in my abortion.
And I choose to forgive the one nurse
And I choose to forgive the one nurse
who wasn't kind to me
who wasn't kind to me
and didn't care for my heart.
and didn't take care of my heart.
And Abba Father,
Abba Father,
I ask forgiveness
I ask forgiveness
for killing my child
for killing my child
and for my unforgiveness towards all these things.
and for my unforgiveness towards all these things.
And I renounce the lie
And I renounce the lie
that I am bad
that I am bad
or defiled
or defiled
or that something is wrong with me
or that something is wrong with me
and that I need to carry shame and guilt the rest of my life
and that I need to carry shame and guilt for the rest of my life
because of what I did.
because of what I did.
I ask forgiveness
I ask forgiveness
for believing that Jesus shed blood on the cross,
for believing that Jesus shed blood on the cross,
didn't pay for this,
didn't pay for this,
but that I need to pay for it myself.
but that I need to pay for it myself.
I break all unhealthy soul ties
I break all unhealthy soul ties
with my mom and dad,
with my mom and dad,
with the people at the clinic,
with the people at the clinic,
and with the father of my baby.
and with the father of my baby.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. I place it under the blood of the cross and I sever it from my life completely. I give back to him all that belongs to him and take back for myself all that belongs to me.
Yep.
In Jesus' name. There might be a place in there too to forgive the doctor who killed the baby. Is that in
that
that?
with the people at the clinic?
Yeah, just any part that they took in killing the baby. Is that in that under the abortion thing in the training manual on page
It
36.
says, forgive everyone as well as those at the abortion clinic and anyone who took any part of it.
Okay, that I'm just getting that myself or whatever, that it might be a good idea, just like you're choosing to forgive yourself for killing the baby. That might be a part in there as well, just as the Spirit leads.
Okay. So not only would you ask Abba Father forgiveness for killing your baby, but you would choose to forgive yourself too.
I mean, probably. Whenever there's a situation that has a lot of guilt and shame, but the Lord usually brings it in, okay? So you'll ask, is there anyone else I need to forgive? And then they'll say, yeah, myself, you know? So it usually just comes up organically, but just in this type of situation, you probably need to forgive yourself. There's a lot of guilt and shame attached when this takes place. So not something, I mean, you'll know when you wholeheart it, if it wholehearts and goes in or whatever, then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, everything's all good. But it's one of those things that might be a clue too. If they really have a lot of, like, they can never forgive themselves, like if they've made any kind of vow like that, or if they really feel like Jesus' didn't shed blood on the cross, didn't cleanse them, and that they have to hold that guilt and shame for the rest of their life because of what they did. If that's in there, they might need to forgive themselves for that. So I think that's in there. Sorry, I don't have it in front of me, so now I can't remember what all I wrote, but it's like when you go through the paragraph that's I'm just
Yeah,
renouncing
you
the
renounce
lie.
the lie, and you ask forgiveness for believing Jesus said blood on the
Okay.
cross for your baby.
So yeah, you might also just choose to forgive yourself for those things.
Okay.
So you're good. You're all good though, the way you did it.
Okay.
So we broke soul ties. Okay.
And then whole heart.
And then if there's any lies or vows in there, you know, you'd want to pick up on those. So if there is a vow that they made in their heart that I'll never be forgiven for this, and so I'll always have to hold this, or, you know, whatever it is, if that's in there, besides the lie that you already renounced, you know, if there's anything deeper in there, you can always ask that. And then you want to go to wholeheart it like you normally would wholeheart anything, okay? And then after that is when you bring the baby in, all the way in with the father. Yeah, Nate? What?
Hiding place?
Yeah, that's
Is there something
perfect.
you want to explain real quick?
I don't think so. Is there any questions or anything you have?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, you're cool to shut everything down now. Bye, everyone.